So that was a fun ride.
I just walked out of the theater yesterday and I need to talk about something before I do anything else. This is my non-spoiler review of the last act, so don't be afraid. You're not gonna get spoiled in this whole video. What I just watched is not what I expected, and I say that as someone who spent months breaking down every single episode of the show, building theories, tracking character arcs, and analyzing everything from biblical symbolism to political undertones to even consciousness and philosophy buried underneath the show. And I went in prepared, and the show still got me. My name is Purple America, and welcome to my non-spoiler review of the amazing digital circus, The Last Act, Episode 9. I am bamboozled. I want to be honest with you, walking into the theater, I was nervous, okay? I wasn't like excited nervous, I was genuinely nervous. I didn't know what was going to happen. I was genuinely about to just give up on any expectations that I had in the first place, because this show has meant so much to me, and something to me in like a way that's hard to explain to someone who just watches it casually or doesn't know much about it. When you go as deep as I and a lot of the fandom has gone into this show and what it's actually saying, the ending carries weight that goes beyond just finding out what happens to the characters, right? I can tell you right now, without spoiling a single thing, it felt real to me. It felt real to me. All of it. Everything the show was pointing at across 9 episodes was intentional, and it pays off in this episode. If you were just watching the show purely for entertainment and the characters and the humor, it still delivers on that level completely. And that is the genius of Gooseworks in this whole episode here. It works on every layer simultaneously. The last act is an hour and 30 minutes long, right? And it earns every single minute of that runtime. There is not a wasted scene in it at all. Even the episode that I had already seen, I was still analyzing and it still felt real. Every character gets their moment, and I mean every character. The backstories that the show has been building towards since episode 1 finally land. It just hits you in ways that you wouldn't see coming at all. I gotta tell you, I cried multiple times at multiple things that happened, and so be prepared to cry if you're going to go see it. And I am not someone who cries at animated content easily. I'm not someone who cries in general unless it becomes emotionally vulnerable in that moment, and it really did. It converted, I'm telling you. Gooseworks has this way of making you feel genuinely connected to people who do not exist, and who live in a digital circus, and who are not human in a traditional sense. And somehow that connection becomes one of the most human things you've ever experienced watching this piece of media. I know a lot of people in this fandom were scared as well on how this was going to end. There were 2 major camps in this, and I'm not going to tell you what camp wins out because I would just spoil the whole thing. There were the people who wanted to see the characters escape and see the outside world, and the people who felt like keeping them in the circus was the most honest and true ending. Gooseworks found a path that neither camp fully predicted, and it's going to satisfy both sides in a way that feels earned rather than a compromise. It felt like they knew exactly where they were going from the beginning, and everything before this was building towards a specific destination. The way that this episode handles Caine is something that I have to mention without giving anything away, and that's the hardest thing for me, because everything I theorized about him across this whole series, the false god dynamic, the biblical parallels, and the question about whether he's a villain in the system, all of it gets addressed. And the answer is more complex and more satisfying than I thought it was going to. I've been saying this pretty much all of my breakdowns, that there's more underneath the performance of Jax, and the fandom doesn't really look into it. They kind of just love him. And the cruelty was the cover that I had already been saying, and episode 9 shows you the source of that cruelty. And it is dark, and it genuinely is dark in a way that recontextualizes everything that you've watched, and I think that it's amazing in that fact. So when you watch it, just know that you're going to be going through some feelings. But it explains him in a way that makes him one of the most fully realized characters in this whole story, and people still love him. If you've been following my breakdown series from episodes 1 through 7, a lot of what happens in this finale is going to land with some extra weight. Things I've pointed to months ago come back around in this episode in ways that are deeply satisfying to have tracked. If you haven't seen any of my other videos on the skepticism that I had, you can go ahead and check that out. And it's worth going back to, because when you get to the finale, you can finally watch and understand. It's going to change how you receive some moments. I want to take a second to talk about Gooseworks as a creator, because I think she deserves that. She built something that works as multiple things: a comedy, a horror story, an emotional character study, a philosophical allegory, and a piece of social commentary all at the same time. And she did it without even breaking the internal logic of the world she created. That is extraordinarily difficult to do. The fact that she pulled it off with this level of consistency and level of emotional payoff puts her in a category of storytellers that most people working in animation today are not even close to reaching. Go see it if you have access to the theatrical release, and go see it in the theater, because the experience of watching it with an audience who is invested as you are is something that you're not going to get on YouTube in 2 weeks. And if you're waiting for the YouTube release, stay off of social media, please, because the things that happen in this episode are things that people cannot keep to themselves. You don't want to be handed that before you get there yourself. It is conclusive about being closed off, it is emotional without being manipulative, and it's complex without losing you. And it is going to stay with you as long as you walk out of that theater and you close that YouTube tab. I'm going to be doing a full spoiler breakdown after this, so if you've already seen it, come back, okay? Because we've got a lot to get into. And after that, I'm going to do a full series analysis connecting everything back from episode 1 to right now. So go grab your popcorn. This is about to be a good one, and I hope you guys enjoy if you haven't seen the movie yet. I'll see you next time.